Saving Private Ryan didn't just win awards, it changed how war is portrayed on screen forever. When it hit theaters, audiences weren't prepared for what they were about to witness. The raw intensity, the chaos, the humanity, it felt less like a movie and more like stepping into history itself. But behind that unforgettable realism lies a collection of incredible behind-the-scenes decisions, risks, and stories that shaped the film into what it became. Let's dive into the hidden side of this cinematic landmark. First, the iconic D-Day landing wasn't filmed in Normandy at all. Instead, the production moved to the coast of Ireland, where a remote beach became the stand-in for Omaha. What looks like a massive invasion was actually a carefully orchestrated operation involving over 1,000 extras, many of them trained soldiers. Their discipline and movement added a level of authenticity that's hard to fake. And realism didn't stop there. The filmmakers made bold and controversial choices to depict the brutality of war. Some performers with real-life limb loss were cast to portray wounded soldiers. The result was deeply unsettling, but also undeniably powerful. One of the biggest risks came from how the battle scenes were filmed. Instead of planning every camera angle in advance, the director chose a more unpredictable approach. Multiple cameras rolled at once, capturing moments as they happened. It was chaotic, expensive, and could have gone terribly wrong, but it worked. What ended up on screen felt immediate and terrifyingly real. At the heart of the story is a deeply human idea, the value of one life. This wasn't just fiction. The narrative was inspired by real wartime policies designed to protect families who had already lost multiple sons in combat. That emotional core gave the film weight far beyond the battlefield. Sound design also played a huge role. Instead of relying on stock effects, the team recorded real weaponry to capture authentic audio. Actors even heard these sounds during filming, which led to genuine reactions, flinches, panic, confusion, that you simply can't script. The director was also very particular about how audiences experienced the film. He wanted viewers immersed from the very first second. Some theaters even adopted stricter viewing conditions to preserve that intensity, ensuring no one casually walked into the middle of the experience. To push realism even further, actors weren't always warned about explosions during filming. The unpredictability created real fear, something that translated directly onto the screen. It blurred the line between performance and instinct. Casting choices were equally deliberate. Some actors were selected specifically because they weren't widely recognized. The goal was simple: make the characters feel like real soldiers, not celebrities. Ironically, one of those actors became famous right before the film's release, changing how audiences saw him overnight. To build genuine chemistry, most of the cast went through a grueling military-style training camp. They endured exhaustion, strict discipline, and harsh conditions, mirroring what real soldiers experienced. But one key actor was intentionally left out, creating a subtle sense of isolation that added tension to the story. There were also moments of pure spontaneity. One of the film's most emotional lines wasn't even written beforehand, it emerged naturally during filming. Sometimes, the most powerful moments come when actors fully inhabit their roles. Not everything behind the scenes was smooth, though. Some cast members faced personal struggles during production, requiring strict oversight to keep things on track. Despite the pressure, the performances that emerged were unforgettable. Even casting decisions were shaped by unexpected factors. Some actors had to step away from roles due to personal limitations, reminding us that filmmaking is often about adapting to reality, not just vision. Visually, the film introduced techniques that made it feel almost documentary-like. Shaky cameras, desaturated colors, and chaotic framing all contributed to a sense of immersion that audiences hadn't seen before. And then there's the history woven into every detail. Even the obstacles on the beach weren't random, they were based on real defensive structures used during the war. Small touches like these added layers of authenticity. The impact of the film didn't stop at entertainment. For many veterans, it was the first time they saw their experiences reflected so accurately. Some found it difficult to watch, but also necessary. It opened doors for conversations that had been avoided for decades. The emotional weight carried into the film's final scenes as well. Filming took place in a real military cemetery, surrounded by thousands of actual graves. That setting brought a level of gravity that no set could replicate. Beyond the screen, the film helped renew public interest in honoring those who served. It contributed to broader conversations about remembrance and sacrifice, even influencing real-world memorial efforts. Its influence also reached into other forms of media. Future war stories, especially in gaming, borrowed heavily from its style and tone, bringing that same sense of realism to new audiences. Years later, when the film returned to theaters for anniversary screenings, it proved something important: this wasn't just a movie tied to a moment in time. It had become part of cultural memory. People didn't just watch it, they experienced it together. Different generations sat side by side, reflecting on the same story, the same sacrifices. In the end, Saving Private Ryan isn't just about war. It's about responsibility, memory, and the cost of freedom. It reminds us that heroism isn't always loud or dramatic. Sometimes, it's quiet. Sometimes, it's ordinary people making impossible choices. And that's why it still resonates today.